Hello everyone
Oh,
Hey, bloopers.
that's gone well, mate.
I'm keeping that in.
Hello everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. My name is Alex and my umbrella is now gone because Jacob knocked it out of my hand. But you know what else got knocked out of our hands? 2 points today, Charlie. Nottingham Forest 1-1. What do we take from it?
Frustrating afternoon, mate. I actually don't think we're as bad as what a lot of people were trying to make out that we were, but sort of the same familiar issues that we have had against teams that sit back, put men behind the ball, and we struggled to break them down. We created opportunities, and I think today wasn't about us being bad as to why we didn't get the points. It's because we just didn't take our chances. Felix and Nkunku, you have to put those chances in the back of the net. You know, you're not going to get two better chances than that to win a game. Whilst we are unlucky not to win, we're also very fortunate not to lose as well, by the way. Sanchez obviously making two howlers last week. This week he more than made up with it with two massive saves that literally kept us in the game. That was the difference between us winning and losing. So you've got to give praise where it was due. But it was just a frustrating afternoon. A bit of a mad game, to be perfectly honest, but one that highlights that we still haven't quite got what it takes to break teams down that sit like low blocks and set pieces, mate, are two kryptonites, you know, over the past few seasons. Both struck today, considered from a set piece, really sloppy marking, and then obviously, yeah, we struggled to break them down. And people go, oh, they had 10 men for like 20 minutes. That probably was actually worse for us because it just meant that they just sat even deeper. So I actually think the 10 men probably did them a bit more of a favour. You know, I think we would have had a better chance against the 11. But
at least with 11, teams tend to have some freedom going forward, but Forest weren't interested in that.
No, they weren't interested in that. And it's just a frustrating afternoon. I know we didn't lose, but it was just thinking, you know, these sorts of draws, I know it's only 7 games in, I don't want to say that 2 points might cost us the top 4, but do you know what I mean? Like last season when we drew games at home to Burnley, we drew games at home to Sheffield United. I'm not saying that like Forest are the same level as those teams. They're obviously better than that, and they came and they did a very good job, so fair play to them for that. But these are the sort of results which you could look back on at the end of the season and think, yeah, that could cost us in the overall, in the bigger picture. But look, I think we can be sort of pleased with the progress that we've made so far. I still think it's a good start to the season. This result doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad start to the season, you know. It's just one of them. It's frustrating, but it's one win from four league games at home. That's not great to start the year. We have to be perfectly honest, and that's something that we need to improve on. I thought Maresca today overthought things a little bit. I thought the substitutions were way too late. He's normally quite proactive, you know. He normally makes the subs pretty quick. I think waiting till 80 odd minutes to make the first changes was
a little bit earlier than that, was it?
No, I don't think it was, mate. 80 minutes. I think it was that late. I mean, look, someone can correct me in the comments. I'm pretty sure it was approaching 80 minutes when the first 2 changes were made. That's a bit late for me. I mean, what are you really going to be able to do in 10 minutes? Yes, there were 13 minutes added on, but do you know what I mean? What are you really going to... How much time really do you have to impact the game? So
well, I do think that his subs made a positive impact, but he just needed to do them earlier, like you said.
Yeah, it should have been earlier. I thought that was, you know, something that he could have improved on. But overall, mate, other than take our chances, I don't really know what more we could have done. We weren't terrible today. The first half was frustrating. I don't know how that opportunity didn't go in, where the one where it like kind of come off the post and it was like literally millimetres from going over the line. But yeah, just a frustrating afternoon. You're sort of not really sure what to think, because on the one hand, you know, we weren't terrible, and you don't look at that performance and think, Jesus Christ, this team, where are we going? Where are the results coming from? But on the other side, you're just like, how do we not win that game? Those are the sort of games you have to be winning.
I mean, Cole Palmer is the match winner typically. Forest were all over him. You know, they tried to double up on him at times. Difficult to find spaces in the middle, so you found, especially in that first half, he's drifting out wide. We can't just rely on one player, but I think that if you compared this to last season, we can take a lot more from it, and I can look at a lot more chances, creations that we made, passes that we made. And that tells me we're going in a good direction, which is not what people want to hear, but I don't really know how else you analyse it.
Mate, no one's celebrating. No one's like delighted. Oh, you know, what a great point at home to Forest. No, but no one's saying that. But you know, if you take the result in isolation, yeah, it's not great. You know, it's not. You shouldn't be dropping points at home to these sorts of teams. But if you look at it in the context of the start of the season and how things have gone in general, like it's just a minor blip, you know, and like. The big difference from last season in those kind of games, we'd have lost that game last season, by the way, is that we are still creating a lot of chances, and we're not reliant on Palmer. You know, I've said this a couple of times before this season. Teams are going to double up on Palmer, they're going to mark him out the game, they're going to try and do a job on him, and they're going to try and minimise his influence. And, you know, Forest were doing that today. I thought he was all right today, Palmer. You know, not obviously at his brilliant best, but he tried to make things happen. I thought Madueke was good today, by the way. A lot of people were kind of getting on his back. Last two performances weren't great, but Maresca stuck with his guns, stuck with him, and, you know, he took the goal really well. I thought it was a threat, particularly in the first half, down that right-hand side.
I think it was with Madueke, a bit like Neto. They both like to take players on just in different ways. I find Neto wants to run in behind a little bit, maybe whip in across, but Madueke is willing to take a man on, drive, and create the chance for himself. But I think we almost have the best of everything in that front line, because you've got Sancho who's so unselfish, and then Madueke is slightly more on the other side. Yeah,
I think you've got sort of two contrasting things, right? You've got Madueke, who is always keen to shoot when perhaps actually at time he should take the better option. And then you've got Sancho who's the opposite, who is always looking for the pass rather than actually having a shot at a time. So you've got two sort of contrasting positions on either side. You'd like Sancho to just take on the shot a little bit more, and you'd like Madueke to actually get his head up and not always shoot, and maybe try and look and pick out a teammate who might be in a better position. So you've kind of got that contrasting thing on each side. But I thought the attacking play wasn't bad today. Jackson was anonymous, I'll be honest. Not entirely his own fault. We just didn't get him in the game. You know, he hardly had the ball. I think he might be in a little bit of trouble after that scuffle. I think there's some footage that's emerged of him slapping someone in the face. So,
like Drogba in 2008.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it was quite that bad, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some retrospective action potentially coming his way.
Have you seen it then? I haven't seen it.
I've seen a screenshot of obviously him like reaching his hand out. I don't know for certain, but I wouldn't.
Just wanted to give him a kiss, mate.
If they want to see, if they see that, then yeah, he could be in trouble. Yeah. Obviously, no Nkunku and over Fafana for Anfield both picked up bookings. I thought. In that melee, I mean, I thought that was a little bit harsh, to be honest. Nkunku basically almost got sent into the dugouts, and, you know, he ends up getting a booking. You know, but without them for Anfield, you know, it's a chance for Vega, Tosin to step up, and, you know, and hopefully that's not too much of a blow. But yeah, I don't know, mate. I just think it's frustrating today, really. It's just a sense of disappointment that we didn't get the 3 points, but also looking at it and thinking, yeah, we weren't that bad, and, you know, at the start to the season, it has still been good, and we've come a long way from compared to the start of last season.
Mate, we finished 12th, we finished 6th. I hope we get top 4, and then big things to come. This title race thing, I mean, we're not going to compete in that sense.
We're not in a title race. We're not in a title race. Why are people saying that? You know, that's like sort of the next narrative that people are going to run with. Like, Chelsea have had a good start to the season. Should they be competing for the title? Oh, why aren't they competing for the title? It's nonsense. We're nowhere near ready to compete for the title. I don't even know why people are even mentioning it. You know, we're not even a top 4 side yet. Let's make ourselves a Champions League team first, and then let's think about challenging for the title. There's still a lot of progress that this team needs to make. You know, we're going to find out a lot more about us against Liverpool, against Newcastle, against Arsenal, Man United in those games after the international break. I thought the midfield wasn't that great today, I'll be totally honest. I thought Caicedo didn't have one of his better games. I thought Enzo was poor today. You know, I'm by no means an Enzo hater or anything, but I don't think he was particularly good today. You know, I thought his passing wasn't good. I thought his corners, by the way, were terrible. Like, mate, how many corners today? Not just Enzo, but mate, hitting the first man pretty much every time.
Is this just a Chelsea thing?
Mate, I don't know. We've seen it for years with Willian doing it as well.
Mount.
Mate, I don't understand why we can't get over the first man. It's no point having this set piece coach if you can't even beat the first man from the corner. Doesn't matter what moves you've planned, what the set piece coach is doing. If you can't beat the first man, all his work is completely pointless. So actually what we need to do is get someone to teach these players to be able to beat the first man from a fucking corner. Like, it's honestly ridiculous, but yeah, I mean, Sanchez kept us in the game as well at the end. Enzo's an interesting one because he divides opinion, but he's obviously going to play because of the money paid. And he obviously gets more criticism because of the fee, which has nothing to do with him.
Do you think that the money that we paid should factor into the reason why Maresca plays? Do you think that he's pressurised into playing Enzo Fernandez?
I think we'd be lying, mate, if we didn't say that there's pressure from above to play big money signings. We know under Roman that was the case. You know, like people like Shevchenko and stuff. I'm pretty certain he had to play. You know, I think it's the same. You know, I'm not saying they pick the team, but I think there's an expectation that big money signings have to play. Imagine, I'm not saying you can't bench Enzo for a game. Of course you can. But if you gave him like an extended run out of the side, there's going to be questions from above about why the big money investment is not being played. So, yeah, I think there is a expectation that these players do play. I'm surprised we're not seeing much of Lavia at the moment. I know he's been injured. Yeah. I know he's been injured, and obviously he's back in the squad now, but he didn't play on Thursday because he was out the squad. I thought today would have been a good opportunity for him to get some minutes and maybe just add something a little bit different to that midfield, because at times I think Enzo, particularly off the ball, struggles a lot. And that's where Lavia is obviously, I think, is a little bit better, and it could have been a better option for us. So yeah, I'm a bit surprised by that, but all in all, mate, I think it's a painful result, but we can be proud of the progress that we've made so far this season.
Yeah. Do you think there's more to come from this team, or are you a little bit nervous coming into the next few games after the international break?
Mate, we're 7 league games into the season. This is not the finished team. There's definitely more to come. How long it's going to take to find that, I don't know. In terms of the games coming up after the break, I'd say, look, you have to feel positive going into them because we are on a good run of form. It's still only 1 loss from the first 7 games in the league. But there's also an air of uncertainty because the last couple of times we've been to Liverpool, we've been battered, mate. Last season was 4-1. We were pathetic. In these big games, we haven't done well in recent years. So there is a concern that the same could happen again. And it's just going into the unknown with this team because let's be honest, mate, we've not been tested against a big side this season. The first day of the season against City, I'm not really looking at that. We've got the next 4 games after the break is where we're going to really find out about this team and where they're at in terms of making a push for the top 4. Are we even ready for that? If we were to lose like 2 or 3 of them games, you'd maybe have to say, actually, this team might not be ready for the top 4. So yeah, we're going to find out a lot about us, how the season's going to pan out over these next 4 games. And yeah, you have to feel confident, but there's always a bit of apprehension as well because we are taking a big step into the unknown here.
It's true, man. It's true. But Liverpool is unknown for them as well. They haven't played against Enzo Maresca, so hopefully he can be the man to change it round, but we'll see. Always a pleasure, Charlie. Thanks for coming on, buddy.